Only a 12th level intellect has the slightest hope of surviving what you are about to experience.
Feeling sick?
Yeah, I'm trying to fight a cold, you could say.
A cold, you say? Do you mean like McGregor's syndrome in Batman and Robin?
Oh my god,
movie?
that's a horrible pun. That was a horrible pun. Yeah, and I just need to drink like a bottle of orange juice. That's all.
Why do you think they called it McGregor's syndrome? Do you think that was named after like a cast member or crew member or something with the last name McGregor?
Yeah, I think everyone just really liked Ewan McGregor. I think that's all it comes down to. I've got the McGregor syndrome.
In 1997.
Right, like 2 years before Star Wars. Yeah.
I was going to say when he hadn't even played Obi-Wan Kenobi yet. I guess he was in stuff.
When was Train Spotting? He might have been in that already. That was 1996. That was 96. So, hey.
Oh, okay. Okay.
people have the Ewan McGregor syndrome.
Like, wow. That was such a great movie.
I've got the Ewan McGregor syndrome right now because I really want to see an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. Like
we should start that hashtag McGregor syndrome.
There we go.
All right. Hey everybody. Welcome to another episode of 12th Level Intellects. This is DC Animated Universe podcast hosted by the Watchtower Database. My name is James Drecker.
And I'm Ted Kendrick.
Although according to the Northwest Association of Performing Arts, my name is either James Stretcher or James Streaker, so take your pick.
Oh.
That's the marching band circuit. We just finished competitions with the high school that I teach. And no one could announce my name correctly, but then they announced my sister's name perfectly both times. It's the same name.
That happens.
Same last name.
Yeah, Ted Kendrick's not my name.
You gotta deal with it.
Everyone's always surprised to learn my multiple names, but...
How do you... Your name is very phonetically spelled. Like,
oh, thank you.
I guess mine is too, but I don't know. Yes, that's a compliment. Your name just has that phonetic quality.
I appreciate that. I don't hear that enough.
Hey, I was just going to say what our main topic today is, but we'll get to that.
You're probably already seeing it on the episode title.
Yeah. Finally, they say we're doing a DCAU episode on the DCAU podcast.
Yeah.
But I digress. I'm going to go first with news because I'm so excited.
Sweet. What you got?
The Gotham by Gaslight trailer came out.
Yeah.
Finally, like a real one.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. I still haven't read the comic before the movie comes out like I want to, but I have several months to do so I'm going to do that. Even though I pretty much know what happens, I'm going to guess that Jack the Ripper's killing people, and then Batman's like, don't do that, and then he stops him. But there's probably some cool stuff in between.
Yeah, there definitely is. I actually can't remember if I finished it. I know I started reading it and it was really, really good, but I don't remember how it ends. I need to reread it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've talked about this before that I'm so on the like adapting these exact comic books because I just want to see new things, but the animation looks good. It doesn't look really a lot like the comic, but what can you do?
Yeah, well, the original comic was drawn by Mike Mignola, who is known for Hellboy, and like Hellboy has even been animated before. Like he's got some animated films. Yeah, and so that like his style is really easy to adapt, and I think Mignola also drew the character design for Mr. Freeze in Batman the Animated Series. So he's got like his style just lends itself to that, and the writer of the original comic, Brian Augustyn, is one of my favorites. He wrote a run on The Flash in the late 90s, like around the time Grant Morrison and Mark Waid were doing their stuff. But Brian Augustyn's done some really cool things with The Flash. I think he's the guy who created Savitar. I could be wrong, but I think he created Savitar, the character. Yeah. But he wrote Gotham by Gaslight.
Everyone's... All the... whenever someone's like, "Ooh, why don't they just draw it like exactly like the comic?" and then all the producers will be like, "Oh, it's so difficult to fluidly animate such a stylized thing. That's why we have to like amalgamate it with, you know, Bruce Timmy looking kind of stuff. But why don't you just try? I don't know.
Yeah, well, just to like use an example, like the Superman Batman movies in particular, like Public Enemies and then Apocalypse, they were both.
Those look pretty much exactly like the.
Yeah, like Ed McGuinness and then Michael Turner for Apocalypse. Like they tried. I remember that being like one of the best adaptations of a comic book art style. But of course, Darwin Cook and New Frontier. That's a really good one too.
Right. Yeah.
And
well, that one's like those are both very clean and streamlined already. So I guess that makes sense to why they. But even like
I was gonna say Frank Whiteley from All Star Superman. I thought they did a good job with this stuff too.
Yeah, that's true. I like those ones for that reason. I don't know about this or Killing Joke or whatever, where they just turn it into
Brian
more of
Boland's
a
art.
cartoon. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Whatever. This movie is coming out February of next year. They're ramping up like marketing for it so early. I'm sure that we'll get more and more over time, but
it's 3 months
they
early.
already have a full trailer.
It's not that early.
I guess that's true. It's still just it feels far away because there's an 8 at the end of the year instead of a 7.
I'll do that.
But yeah, that's that.
Well, that's exciting. I read in the news that Dwayne The Rock Johnson. We talked a little bit about last episode. Yeah, how he was cast as Black Adam in the Shazam movie. Well, news reports say that he is actually going to appear much sooner in the DCAU. He's going to be in Suicide Squad 2. Black Adam. Yeah. Okay. Maybe he's the main antagonist. I don't know. But
yeah, because that'd be a weird like just inclusion on the team or something. But I don't know if he's been on the team before.
No. Well, he's been on like the Secret Society. Like he's worked with Lex Luthor, Deathstroke, and like, but as a leader, like he's usually in their like, you know, inner circle. So he's like in books like 52, like the original 52 weekly series. Like he's really set up to be like a this just. I don't know. He's a ruler of this kingdom. You know, he's almost like dark side level, but on Earth. Like he's seen
like a warlord.
Yeah, he's a warlord. That's a good way to say it. But he's generally like respected by his people too. It's just the outside world don't quite get along with his. It's just like his ruling style is from another era. You know, like.
Well, yeah,
exactly. So I kind of see that maybe like the Suicide Squad being used by the government to like infiltrate Kondak or something, and
maybe they like, we got to have a villain people know instead of whatever that man-chantress was in Suicide Squad that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Like
who's from like
one comic.
Right.
No, I think he would make a much better, villain for them to fight instead of part of the team. Because if it's part of the team, it'll just be a Fast and the Furious family. Oh, we're just brothers. We're all of thing. And
just two
everybody's
brothers.
Seen that already. I can throw lightning and you're a crocodile. We're just all family here. But yeah, he'd make a fun like they have to fight him and then he can do all his rock quips and whatever and it would be more normal. Although I don't know if he should do that as Black Adam.
No,
but,
he shouldn't. He really shouldn't.
He's just gonna keep saying Aquaman-y, my man kind of stuff.
That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
That's the thing I'm worried about the most with Justice League, to be honest, is just Aquaman's dialogue.
I'm worried about the Flash. The Flash's dialogue over anyone else. I'm worried he's going to be just comic relief.
That's landed better for me in the trailers than.
Well, in the trailers, he's always talking about how he just like he doesn't fight. He just runs really fast and steals things, you know. So I'm worried like that's the thing. Like he doesn't fight. He's just like the comic relief and runs really fast.
Well, yeah, there was I've been watching a bunch of interviews with the cast. excuse me, people, excuse me. And the yes, that was a burp.
Was a reaction at watching the interviews with the cast?
Yeah, I was went to the interview and I was like, wow. There was a thing with Ezra Miller where he was talking about that he never actually gets named as the Flash in the movie. He's just Barry. He's just a guy. Because he's like super new to the thing. By the way, we'll have seen the movie by the time that you hear this, but we currently have not seen the movie.
Don't we see the Flash in full costume in the Suicide Squad for like a second?
Mm-hmm.
So how?
Yeah, but I don't think anyone calls him the Flash. Like, I think you just see him. I don't know.
What about like Lex Luthor's files? Like the files that
I watched Batman vs Superman yesterday, and all the files are called like red _ streak or something like that. Like he doesn't have an actual code name yet.
The red streak is probably from like some multiverse version of the Flash. I'm sure that's a thing.
The streak.
Well, that's
Tom
Justice
Turbine,
Guild.
Catman.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. The well, he was like the Blur or something like that on the CW one. So there's
and like Arrow was the Hood.
Yeah. They did that stuff for way too long, and I was like, oh, they're gonna very fluidly transition into Green Arrow, and then one day he just said, the Arrow is dead. Now I'm the Green Arrow, and it didn't make any sense. It's just random.
Yeah.
What, you had wide eyes for a second. What are you afraid of?
Color green.
Which I guess did you say a news thing? I'm so tired.
Yeah, no, mine was Black Adam. Black Adam being in Suicide Squad 2. I've got another piece of news.
I do too. But,
okay, you go first after you.
Well, we were talking about Justice League stuff, and this isn't really news. I guess it was just an interesting article I came upon. The title of the article is Jason Momoa confirms an intriguing link between Aquaman's Justice League backstory and Man of Steel. And there was like a fan theory for a while for no reason that when in Man of Steel, when you see Superman floating in the water and there's whales nearby, they're like, oh, Aquaman sent whales because there can't possibly just be whales. And apparently that has been confirmed by Jason Momoa that he saved Superman from drowning in that scene.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's just Jason Momoa saying like, yep, you're right. My man. I did that.
Yeah.
Or if it's actually like something that they thought through. And
that's kind of cool. They do that a lot in the Marvel cinematic universe too, I think. Like their fan theories
this thing was
come
also
up
happening.
Yeah, and they'll just be like, you're right. And who knows if they thought about that or not, but
yeah, like the spider, that little kid that Iron Man saves is Peter Parker.
Yeah.
But this seems so unnecessary by comparison. There's just whales. It's fine. There can be whales. You don't need Aquaman. There was an airplane in this movie that it's Wonder Woman's invisible jet.
Well,
it's
she
Hal
could have been in
jet. It's just
she could have been in every movie if it's the invisible jet.
That's very true. Although you just see her body floating through the sky.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's how that works.
If you're going by Super Friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just something that I came across because it seemed like a worthy talking topic, but it's not really because it's stupid.
I mean, it's cool. I hope that's real. It adds another layer to the scene. That's kind of cool. Well,
yeah, sure.
I was gonna bring up again. We talked a little bit about Harvey Weinstein a couple weeks ago, but that kind of news just keeps spreading, and it's affecting DC Comics a lot. In comics, TV, and film. So in the comics world, Eddie Berganza, who was an editor on the Superman books for years, he's been editing Metal.
Right.
And he's had multiple allegations of sexual harassment come up, even in the past. And they did get news before, and he was demoted. But BuzzFeed wrote an article about him last week.
Is this the guy that's heading over to Marvel now?
He's heading over to where?
Isn't there some guy that's leaving DC for Marvel or vice versa?
No, that's unrelated. But that's you're thinking of Brian Michael Bendis. He's leaving Marvel for DC, but he's just a writer who's switching over. He's not harassing anybody, as far as we know.
Okay.
But
He's
Eddie,
clean.
Eddie Berganza has gotten just straight up fired. He is gone now. He's absolutely gone. But he's been working there for 30 years, and he's actually been kind of like a main force there at the DC Comics offices for getting books out on time and on schedule. And so now that he's gone, it's apparently there's going to be a lot of cancellations and setbacks and stuff in the next coming months. We're going to probably see some books no longer get published just because during the New 52 they were all about getting the books out on time and on schedule, and Eddie Berganza was a huge part of that. I
guess I would prefer him to be gone for the reasons that he's gone and have to deal with the fallout of that.
Oh, totally. I'm just, I guess, rationalizing that could be the one reason why he's been kept around for so long, you know?
I suppose, yeah.
He gets him out on time. But anyway, so he's in the comics realm. We've got Andrew Kreisberg, who's a showrunner of Supergirl and The Flash.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's also been accused of sexual harassment. And a lot of the CW stars, like, everybody from Legends, Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, they've all been speaking out about it. And I have
to wonder how much this stuff has been going on, like, and everyone's just aware of it, but then they just go like, whatever. Or if it's stuff like, come into this closet real quick and no one knows about it.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I feel like it's definitely known about, but it's a matter of like, what can you do? And now that we're just seeing this wave of people just not putting up with it anymore, and that's amazing. So at least better.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm upset
never.
To see all this, but I'm glad that it's being talked about and happening and whatever.
Exactly. So the last one was Brett Ratner, who is the main force behind Rat Pack. Yeah, he's kind of known for
X-Men Last Stand.
Yeah, he directed X-Men Last Stand. And so Ellen Page, who was
Superman Return? No,
that was Bryan
the other one.
Singer.
I know.
Anyway,
it's the other X-Men guy.
Ellen Page wrote this huge letter straight to Facebook condemning Brett Ratner for the harassment that she suffered on set. He outed her prematurely. He basically told another actress, like, why don't you just sleep with her and make her realize she's gay already? And, like, said shit like that on set. Pretty horrible guy. Gal Gadot.
I've never liked Brett Redner to begin with.
Yeah.
Hashtag Brett Redner.
That's about it. Change his name to be more douchey. make it fit the guy. But Gal Gadot said that she would not do a Wonder Woman sequel if he was still attached in any capacity. So it seems like he is out.
I like her using that not blackmail, but that power, I guess, to be like,
star power.
No, get him out of here.
Yeah. But his company, Rat Pack, has had a deal with WB for the last couple of years to finance. They financed over 20 different films. Anything from Mad Max Fury Road to
Batman vs Superman was in
all the DC movies, Lego Batman, tons of stuff. So, and not just superheroes.
I heard the Rat Pack name amongst all of this stuff.
Their financing group
about it, and then we were watching the movie.
Film financing,
and then that came up on the credits.
Yeah, well,
it sounds like such a douchey name to begin with. Like, it just makes me think of the actual Rat Pack, like the.
He's had a reputation. The Rat Pack, yeah.
Oh. Wow, Frank Sinatra and all of them guys.
If my dad's listening, he appreciates the shout out.
Yeah, you're welcome, Ted, Mr. Kendrick.
That's
weren't Frank Sinatra and all those guys. They're the era that they're from. I'm sure they did stupid slap women's butts as they walked by, a bunch of that kind of stuff all the time. So
yeah,
it just adds the douchiness layer to the name.
Yeah, the Rat Pack. Well, those men were a product of their times, but it's still not appropriate. But yeah, Brett Ratner, he's been known in Hollywood circles for being a douchebag for years, though. Yeah. It's again not a secret. So
yeah, mostly just stuff you hear about people not enjoying working with him, but now but also he's just the way he is not okay.
Yep, he's a horrible dude.
I definitely don't defend anything that anyone that has been accused of that kind of stuff has done. I wonder though how many times, this is going to sound terrible, but I wonder how many times there's just like, since all this stuff is coming out, I wonder if there's anyone that's just been like, maybe one time like they said something that they shouldn't have, like just a sexist comment like in passing, and then an article will come out and be like, so and so is a fucking predator, and then like, oh god, I got wrapped up in this stuff. I don't think that that's happened to anyone so far, but I do wonder when that will happen.
The one that comes to mind is George Takei, because he was accused of something just the other day. Yeah, who played Sulu in the original Star Trek. You all know George Takei. So someone accused him of making a move on him, unwanted move about 30 years ago. And then, but like George is just like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't remember him. So it's kind of a bad reply, but it's also like, I don't know, maybe it was a date gone wrong. That's the only case that's like you want to believe George. Fox News has been like using this as kind of a liberals do it too. Like it's not just like Weinstein and Trump and whoever, you know, but like,
get off our backs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he that sounds horrible from the outside. If George Takei did something to you or like toward you that stuck with you for that long, and then he went, I don't even know who that guy is. Like that makes it even worse. But if it really was just like you saw him at a convention and then he went like, oh, hello, and then George Takei tried to hit on me, and then like made a big deal out of it. But if it's worse than that, then it's worse than that.
Yeah,
and we have no way of knowing.
Right, and who knows? Who can say for sure besides them? But it seems like they were like out on a date or something, and it didn't. It almost seems like a date gone wrong. But
like
I hate to
love you, man,
I don't want to excuse that. Yeah, I don't know, but.
It was an I love you man thing. He was just on a friend date and then he tried to kiss him.
But he's been denying it. He's known for being like, he's got really liberal views, and Fox News just like took that as an opportunity to be like, well, what about this guy? Because that's what they do. Instead of like explaining why the behavior is wrong, they'll be like, well, what about this one? Is it any worse than this one? Let's talk about this one instead.
Also just random segue, I guess, tangent thing. Does the George Takei's Facebook page bothers me nowadays? I liked his page like years ago because I was like, oh, that's cool. Like George Takei, a celebrity I know, is posting funny opinions and things. But I also like his husband's Facebook page, and they post the exact same thing every day as each other, like with the same wording, and you can tell it's just like a marketing team that's just doing it for him. They definitely do.
Yeah. No, it's like he's admitted that they have one.
Yeah, it just makes me sad.
Yeah.
Why can't everyone just devote their time like us? We're the best people. Clearly.
We're okay.
Yeah, we do fine. Okay, that's the stuff.
That's the news.
Things. Mm-hmm. News are done. Today we're going to be talking about some DCAU fan theories. This is kind of the thing that we started doing this 12th Level Intellects thing for in the first place a couple of years ago. Is we just said, like, Ted, at that time, Ted and I had known each other for a long time, but had barely spoken on anything. Like, we live in completely different parts of the United States. Like, especially, like, right now, we're just over Google Hangouts talking. He's in North Carolina and I'm in Oregon.
That's right.
There's we're never in the same room as each other. So all the time that we did these recordings, you can find some on the YouTube channel. We did a few on like Harley Quinn's grandchildren and stuff like that. But to me, it's so cringy to listen to because we just have no like rapport. We've barely talked to each other vocally at that point. So we're just kind of like, what do you think about this? Oh, I don't know.
Remember
maybe
this thing?
Yeah, I remember. And so there's just a bunch of stuff that we did not ever get to. There's so many. I had ended up just Googling DCAU fan theories and just found a ton of them that I didn't know anyone was even talking about these shows except for us anymore.
Yeah.
And So we recorded a handful of them, but there was a lot that we never got to, and we were going in order by like category. Like all the ones that you've seen so far, if you've watched any of them, are all family related. Like, oh, is so and so this guy's son? Are these guys related? And blah blah blah. But I went through the list and picked out like 3 or 4, I think, that are not like each other at all, because I think that'll be more interesting to jump between topics instead of just continuing the same thing we've been doing already.
That sounds good with me.
Yeah.
We'll probably do more of these in the future too. We'll do like DCAU fan
this
theories
is definitely part 1 of many. There's these are all also, I never wrote down the source that I got these from. I should have, but they're all just from like Reddit posts and Tumblr blogs and the people's internet. So I apologize if anyone out there is listening to this who came up with this theory and don't get credited. We didn't come up with any of these. We're just going to discuss them and the validity with our 12th level intellect genius knowledge of the cartoons and such. Yeah, the first one we're going to talk about is someone came up with a theory that Luthor's Brainiac visions. This is JLU season 3 when he keeps seeing Brainiac all over the place.
The Legion of Doom
playing
season.
with his head. Yeah, the theory is that it's Grodd messing with his mind, and they're not actually there because Grodd can do that.
He can.
I had never thought of that because it's supposed to narratively be that Luthor he was one with Brainiac for a little bit at the end of JLU season 2, and then he gets burst out of that by the Flash, and then he's like having these visions of Brainiac while he's escaping from jail and presumably in jail and stuff like that, as if Brainiac is still inside of him a wee bit enough to talk to him. But this theory is that he never was actually still there. He was completely gone, and that in order for Lex to join Grodd's secret society, Grodd puts Brainiac visions in his head to like coax him into agreeing to do it, because Grodd has the piece of Brainiac that he's offering Luthor. It makes sense, and I never thought of it that way. But when we rewatched JLU recently, I think it works really well, because like as soon as he throws Grodd out the airlock at the end, he says like, "I can't hear Brainiac's voice in my head anymore," or whatever, as if that's connected.
Yeah. It very well could be. Does Grodd need his telepathic helmet to induce those, or does it get to a point where he's strong enough to do it without it? I forget if he's wearing that. He's not wearing that in that season.
No, he as soon as his initial episode, Brave and the Bold, is over, like Flash bangs on the helmet, and then it short circuits, and then he has like his own. He can just have mind control powers without using the helmet.
Gotcha.
From that point on.
Cool.
So yeah, no, I totally can see that. There was another thing. I kind of just bullet pointed reasons, pros and cons for these. Brainiac, when he's talking to Lex, Brainiac is very like, we can be together again, kind of a thing. Which Brainiac, it seems like he would never say stuff like that. Like it's not written in the same tone as usual, so that kind of goes along with that.
Because he doesn't really value people; he values knowledge. So it's like it doesn't make sense for him to want to be bonded with Lex as a person, because he used him to get that nanotech body, the Meso body.
Right. Yeah. So it's all just Lex wants it, and
he wants to be a god.
Brainiac would just Brainiac was just using that as a platform. The only thing that it says it's against this is that someone had come up with was that in the Great Brain Robbery, when Luthor and Flash switch brains, Grodd is in a it says psionic dampening prison is what it says, but he's in the thing. He's in a big old thing where he's connected to whatever machine.
It's limiting his powers.
Yeah, but that whole episode you never see any Brainiac visions, so that doesn't mean anything.
It would also it would be the Flash wouldn't have those visions, right? Because it's Flash's brain. He doesn't care about Brainiac.
Yeah, it it would go toward the validity of them actually being visions if Flash in Luthor's body started seeing Brainiac, or if Luthor in Flash's body was still talking to Brainiac or something like that.
Right.
Like that seems like it'd be more of a bigger plot point if it was a real thing, because then he just suddenly stops hearing Brainiac. Otherwise, so I like this one. I agree with you.
Yeah, well, it also like even if he was in this like psionic dampening prison, it could be like kind of an Inception effect where he already planted the thought, so now Luthor continues to go there.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he's always it's just on his mind from now on, except that it goes away as soon as Grodd dies.
Right.
Which also we have one listed on here about Grodd not dying when he gets pushed out the airlock, because you never see him actually die, and it's a comic book stuff and whatever. But I think just that alone, the Brainiac thing, plays into he died, because if he's still alive, why would this stuff stop?
But it reminded me of this scene from JLA in the late 90s. It was one Grant Morrison wrote. He had a second Injustice gang that was led by Luthor, and people like Queen Bee, Prometheus, and the General were on that team. And there's a scene where the General gets pushed out of the Justice League Watchtower into space, and so it's just like Grodd. He's like floating into space, and then we see him again like issues later, and he's just chilling on an asteroid, just like crouching there. So it's like he's still very much alive, and I guess he just has like a similar body type to Grodd. That's kind of why I think I guess it's possible in comic book world, but yeah.
Yeah, the general character in the DCAU is pretty muddled, if you including all the comics and stuff, because they did a General Eiling turns into the general thing in the Justice League Adventures comics, and it was completely different from the cartoon. But in the JLU comics, the general looks pretty similar to how he does in the cartoon, and he keeps showing up. There's one where he bursts into the Watchtower from just randomly being in space, I'm pretty sure.
They must just like to put him in the space. Yeah, that's right, though. You're totally right. That's the Blue Beetle issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what it is, in the comics, General Eiling ends up, like, transferring his mind to the body of what's it called? The Shaggy Man. That's what it's called. It's for the Shaggy Man? It's like one of the Justice League's like original enemies that they fought in the 60s.
Right, yeah.
It's just this big like Sasquatch looking creature.
Yeah.
And so like the general takes over that body, and then he shaves all his hair. So that's why. Yeah. So he's not Shaggy.
In the cartoon, he just basically is the Hulk instead. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's cool.
All right. That's that one. Let's see. I had a couple other ones that we wanted to maybe discuss. Oh, okay. I'm gonna come back to this one at the end because it's an interesting one. But here's one that I don't totally agree with, but isn't. A lot of these are just people find like one tiny thing. Like, oh, one time Joker said ham sandwich, so he must be a ham sandwich. Like all this just stupid stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Are you telling me Joker's a ham sandwich?
Yep, he has been all along. It's all been in Batman's head. But this one is Phantasm has supernatural powers. Is the title of this? Instead of Andrea Beaumont spoilers if you haven't seen Mask of the Phantasm, which, how have you not? So the pros for this are she can teleport with smoke, she can speak to the dead, which I don't fully agree with. Which I think what they're talking about is like when she's talking to her mom.
She does speak to the dead, but I don't think she speaks with the dead.
I don't think the dead speaks back to her.
Right.
Everyone has that power, in fact. But one of the so to back this up, I guess there's a line where she says, or Arthur Reeves asks her like, "How is your old man?" or whatever when they're at dinner, and she says like, "Oh, we're closer than ever." Even though
I think that's because
dead.
I think she's wearing a necklace of his fingernails around her the entire time that you don't see.
What?
She's like skinned him and is like wearing his skin under the costume.
What are you? The McGregor syndrome's getting to your head, Ted. That's pretty disgusting.
That's just my own fan theory for what that means.
Oh my god.
Well, We never not
I thought
see
you were
that.
going off something serious. We don't know that she's not wearing a locket of fingernails. Okay, well,
all we know is they're closer than ever.
Yeah, see the scene when in the flashback when we see Joker leave their house and she runs in and screams, she immediately dons his skin, and then she's just wearing it for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, because
that makes total sense.
She's so excited. She's
That's
like,
how
somebody gave me
Yeah.
this dad skin.
Yeah.
Cool. No, that's weird.
No, that's why she fills out the Phantasm costume to look more manly, is because she's wearing her dad's body.
Exactly.
This is a much better fan theory than the real one.
Did you already say that she could teleport with smoke? Did we already talk about that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Is there is there ever a way? Because I know in the Batman and Robin Adventures annual, we actually see a flashback to where she and the Joker disappear at the end of Phantasm. Is it just like I forget?
Yeah,
how
she
that
just
scene
has like
goes.
pockets of some kind of smoke like thing in her glove that just shoots smoke out.
And
that's all it is.
Did they just like go down into the the same
sewers?
sewers?
Yeah, that one time. Yeah, the one because at the end of the movie, the Joker's laughing while everything's on fire,
right?
And then the swirl of smoke, and then she just poof away, and then it's in the comic sequel part, it's revealed that she dropped down into like a manhole that they were just standing on top of.
Yeah,
you'd think Batman would be like, oh, there's a manhole right here. That's where they went, and there's no manhole in the actual movie.
Yeah.
But every other time that she does it in the movie, there's nothing there. Like one time it's on a rooftop with Batman. I mean, she could have just leapt over the edge, I guess, or something stupid. But it does seem more. Maybe it's just supposed to be for the character. For you to be like, oh, this is such a creepy character that it looks like it's disappearing. But Batman does that all the time too. So you turn around and then he's gone. So
right.
I'm sure whenever.
I've always thought that he just like jumps behind like a trash compactor and just waits for them to leave, and then he actually leaves.
Like the Pete Holmes College Humor sketches.
Yeah,
like, I can see you. You're right there. What or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. Those are pretty good. So I don't know. I don't think. I mean, it's pretty much canon that she does not have supernatural powers. She's just a person that's trained like Batman has trained. So that's just like saying Batman has supernatural powers because he dresses like a bat and also does disappearing acts and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, she, as
the
a character, was based off of, who was it?
The Reaper.
The Reaper from Batman Year 2. Yeah. And the Reaper, it was like a really similar story. But the Reaper was like, it would have been Carl Beaumont. Like he was the father in that story instead. But
I think that was probably part of the red herring in the movie is if you've read that comic, then you're going to, I know who it is. And then it's not.
Yeah. And there's also a character from Teen Titans in the early 90s who's called Phantasm. Danny Chase is his name. He was created by Marv Wolfman. And he looks like kind of similar to Andre Beaumont, but he does have telekinesis. And
he's transgender.
Maybe, but I don't know for sure about that. But yeah, he's at least telekinetic.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. Well, then he actually does have powers. Yeah. When I showed my sister Mask of the Phantasm a few months ago, it always like just kind of plays into how good the movie is. Whenever I show someone and they don't catch on that it's Andrea, and then as soon as Joker's like says, I can't remember exactly what he says, but about like, oh, you're the girl, and then she's like, oh, so you figured it out, and throws the cape off, and then it's Andrea, and everyone, oh my god, I had no idea, because they do so many different like Batman thinks he's figured it out that it's Carl. And that he'll confront him pretty soon or whatever. Then, But to me, it seems so obvious. I mean, obviously, I've seen the movie like 600 times, but it seems the Phantasm shows up in town as soon as Andrea shows up in town. Like,
actually, before Andrea shows up in town.
That's true. That's true. She's still on the plane. That actually doesn't really make any sense.
She
kills
goes there, leaves,
she kills,
and then flies over as
and then
Andrea.
comes back.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the first guy's name? It's not Buzz Bronski. Sal. No. Who's the third guy?
It was
the first guy in the movie.
Chucky
Saul.
Chucky Saul.
Yeah.
Your angel,
of death awaits. Yeah, if it was just her, it was just the Dana Delaney voice.
Hashtag your angel
Chucky
of death
Saul. Hashtag Brett Redner as the Phantasm. The only other thing on this one was that to play into the speaking to the dead thing was that at the end of the movie, she's on the boat, and the birthday boy is like, "Oh, sorry, did you want to be alone?" And she's like, "I am." And so it's that this doesn't really make any sense, but it's saying, I think this is trying to say that she says she's alone because she no longer has access to whatever supernatural powers because of the actions that she's taken in the movie.
That
but she just
really
kills
make
a bunch of people,
sense.
so why that final thing? I don't know.
Or maybe she's
None of
like
this
on a
really
cruise
works.
ship and there's no graveyards around, so she can actually
she
talk.
can't speak to dead people. Yeah,
There's no dead people.
I am
only live
alone
people.
because I got on this boat. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
I should murder someone so I can talk to them.
Oh, it's just her and Bruce Willis. Just her and Bruce Willis chilling on the boat.
Hey, man.
Spoilers.
Bruce Willis
for
can't talk to dead people.
only in a movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's plenty of DC characters like Deadman and Constantine and all like supernaturally dead talking kind of people, but they're this movie, it's part of an era of the DCAU where that stuff doesn't really happen.
Right.
It could, but I don't think that...
Deadman's a little trickier because it's like people can't talk to him, but he can talk to you when he possesses
through
you.
a person.
Yeah, and it's a matter of realizing like, oh, that's Deadman now.
Last one that I had, because I don't think we have a lot of time to talk about this stuff before it gets tedious. But I really like this one. I don't agree with it, but I think it's very interesting to think about. Someone has theorized that J'onn J'onzz was replaced by the Justice Lord J'onn J'onzz at the end of A Better World. Because you see all the Justice Leagues fighting their Justice Lord's counterparts, and both of the J'onns transform into the same like hornback monster thing that are fighting each other in the sky. And then systematically, Luthor is like shooting each one of the Justice Lords with his power disruptor thing. And you see him shoot Justice Lord J'onn. But this theory, I guess, is that he actually shoots the wrong one. And then then Justice Lord J'onn transforms back into Justice League J'onn and is just J'onn for the rest of the series.
Interesting.
But the only main problem with this, I guess, is that you see Justice Lord J'onn transform back into himself briefly before Luthor shoots him. So why would Justice League J'onn do that and then get shot with the beam? Like that's the main thing I think that goes against this.
Maybe while they were fighting in the sky, right? They're like these kind of like half dragon genie looking monsters. They're like twisting around, so maybe they're like fighting, and like Justice Lord J'onn whispers like, I don't know, I need to take over. Like, there's something you don't know, and I need to be here.
Yeah, but they never have any sort of revelation of that later. Like, I think the main thing that could go toward this, I guess, is that over the course of the rest of the series, J'onn becomes more and more distant from everybody. And so maybe if it's Justice Lord J'onn, maybe he's like, I don't belong here, kind of a thing. But I think that's just a character trait of Martian Manhunter in general.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't have to be like, he's several different times on the show has been like, I'm just gonna go away now, and they'll be like, no, come back, okay, and then you just
exactly.
So, yeah. I don't think it's anything to read into, but
no.
I do like the idea of it, because after that episode we have Secret Society where he and Clayface get switched in the same kind of thing, like where he pretends to be Clayface for a while.
Right.
If you know that ahead of time, the dialogue from J'onn as Clayface is kind of questionable, because he says like, "Why don't we just kill him right now?" and stuff like that. where it's like, why would you say that?
Like, just to make it be like, let's just I'm tired of infiltrating your group. Let's just get it over with so we can stop you.
Yeah, it's Justice Lord John going like, this is my chance. I can murder them all. Yeah, I don't
or rather
agree.
like
I don't think this is
incite their like just to reveal themselves so the league can stop them. But I don't know.
You can do like a Pee Wee Herman. I say we let him go.
What was the last time we saw Clayface before that? Was it Growing Pains and the new Batman Adventures?
Clayface has such a weird intertwined. If you include all the comics and video games and everything that continuity-wise work, he has so many back and forths of like dying and then not dying and then being in canisters and then being in Arkham and then not dying again and then dying again and then coming back and all this stuff. And it's just, you kind of just have to like, I mean, if you go by only screen stuff, then yeah, he becomes Clayface and then he quote unquote dies in Mudslide and then he comes back in Growing Pains in the Christmas episode. And then you don't see what happens to him and then he's in Secret Society and that's it.
Okay.
But there's plenty of like other comic issues, where he's there and then not, and then in Arkham and then not, and then blah 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 blah. So, and there's that Lost Episode video game where he's like the main villain.
Right.
Also like drowns in the Gotham River and all this stuff. He's just a guy.
He's basically immortal, you could say. Because of his condition.
Well, I'll get to this in Comic Relief later. But I mean this. I don't know. There's a lot of people come up with some interesting theories on these cartoons. It's I think it's usually not to discredit the people that come up with these. I don't think that they're necessarily like stupid, but I think that most of the time these fan theories come out of like seeing one thing and going like, oh, I wonder if blah blah blah, without thinking about every other aspect of it. And that's why we're discussing it like this. Like, no, he's not. It's not Justice Lord John. Like, why would it be? Because there's another one that is very similar to this, where John was replaced by. Okay, it was John was replaced by the Brainiac, like clone thing of John that they're fighting in Divided We Fall. When he makes the Brainiac Justice Lords.
Oh yeah.
There's another one that he's replaced by the Brainiac because we never see the Johns fighting. They focus on Green Lantern and Hawkgirl a bit, and they focus on Batman and Flash, but then we never see the Johns fighting. So the theory is that he killed actual John and then the Brainiac duplicate is the rest of the series. But the Brainiac one would have dissolved away and died like as soon as Brainiac dies.
He wouldn't have gone to China and like married.
Yeah, why would he do anything that he did ever? Yeah. And he also would have had like Brainiac dots all over him and stuff like that. So
right. Which
I guess one's even less.
Is that in Destroyer that we see him? Like he leaves in Chaos in Earth's core. That's when he leaves the League in season 3.
To Another Shore.
That's it.
The Viking Prince one. Yeah.
That's it. And then he comes back in Destroyer.
They both end in or, so I understand. Yeah.
Exactly.
You could say that about so many episodes. Just like every time Jean transforms into a different thing, then he dies and a different Martian comes back or something stupid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fanboys, man.
He's got a brother, too. We see his brother, Malefic, or whatever his name is, in Justice League Doom, the movie.
Yeah. Also voiced by Carl Lumbly, I think.
Oh, nice.
We never see him on the...
Yeah, he's never in DCAU.
DCAU, yeah. He just has his wife and couple kids or whatever. Doesn't he only have one kid in the comics? Or he has...
Yeah, I think he has a daughter. I know his wife. Yeah. Her name is Maria.
Yeah, because I think like in the comics he has one daughter named Kim or something, and then so on the cartoon, whenever I have to biographize his children, I have to always put like Kim and the other one because you don't know the name. But they integrated that into the Supergirl show when they show flashbacks of his family. He has 2 kids instead of 1.
Yeah, I think in the comics he just has a daughter, Kim.
Yeah.
So.
Kim and Kim too. Kim and Jim. I don't know. Do you want to move away from these? Are we tired of these, or do we want to do one more?
Yeah, let's go into comic relief. We'll save some more for another episode.
Comment below wherever you're listening to this or watching or whatever if you enjoyed us talking about these fan theories, because there's still several of them we want to get through. Hopefully they don't come off as us just going like, God, people are so stupid coming up with these fan theories, instead of like, because I'm trying to rationalize them as much as possible. I go into them thinking like, okay, yeah, like the Brainiac Vision one seems pretty plausible. That's something we talked about at the start of doing these in the first place, was that we are by no means like an official answer to these. We're just saying whether they're plausible or not, or just whatever.
Thinking about it critically. Yeah, and if you have any ideas for future discussions or questions, feel free to drop those in the comments.
Throw in your own fan theories. Yeah, we have a couple from our acquaintance in Dallas that we should discuss.
Shout out to Dallas.
But who knows? Oh yeah. Let's move on. Comic relief. I was gonna mention. We were talking about Clayface for a while. Did you read Batman White Knight #2?
No, yet? I still don't have my issue. My store sold out. Boy. I gotta go pick it up. You can talk about it. You can if you want to.
Well, it has a pretty cool Clayface thing in it, but I don't want to spoil it for you because it's a very like, oh my god thing when you read it.
That's cool.
Just read it. If you're listening to this, read it, because I don't want to tell you. Okay. It's something I've never seen before with Clayface, so
sweet.
But it's good. I'm enjoying it so far. We talked about it last time, I think. We talked about the first one.
I feel like it's really Joker, inspired by the animated series too, like the way that the
you were
characters
talking about
are
how
drawn.
like Bruce Wayne has a turtleneck and Batgirl and Nightwing look similar to, but also in this second one especially, they show a bunch of the rogues and they have like exact dialogue from the cartoons, and they look a lot like the cartoon versions and stuff like that. So
nice. That's fun.
You'll enjoy that. Yeah.
Nightwing and Batgirl are like a little modernized in their costumes, but that's cool.
Yeah, they got like, he's got like a jean jacket or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Batgirl's mask looks a little bit more like her current version from the comics. They call it her Burnside outfit, but
right, yeah. Her like more hipster Batgirl look.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I could talk, if we're not going to talk about that, I could talk about the Batman and Harley Quinn #4. Is that what just came out?
Yeah. That was a weird one. It was. Yeah. I'll let you talk about it.
Well, yeah, it's another one that was part of the Last Call book that came with the Best Buy release of the movie, so it's nothing new to us necessarily, but it's still a weird, I don't know, it's just one of those like, this is a sequel comic to the Batman and Harley Quinn movie. These are all just little stories that take place 2 days after the movie, 3 days after the movie, or whatever. Like They acknowledge exactly when it happens. And this one was just a weird, like, unnecessary Nightwing story where he feels like second rate compared to Batman. He's like bored with everything he's doing and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, remember when you punched him in the face and
in Old Winds?
Yes. What? Of course you don't like doing this. What are you talking about?
It's also like he's pining for Harley Quinn. Like he's like, oh, I don't know where Harley went. Like he goes into the Super Babes diner looking for her again.
Like looking for her. Yeah.
I know I told you this already, but I would have loved to see a little scene where he runs to the Starfire. Who was working there and shoot the little cameo in the movie.
Completely distracted.
Yeah, because it's like Nightwing and Starfire.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of I saw a meme that was like Jon Snow and Nightwing the same person. Did I send that to you?
No, just because of their butts. Because they both have good butts.
that was part of it. Yeah,
right? Because I just know they're both known for their butts. Yeah.
They both got good old butts. Yeah.
There's a shot. There's a shot from that comic you're talking about where they're like someone's checking out his butt.
Yeah, I was gonna. That's what it was making me think of it. Yeah, like. Yeah, the Harley Quinn girl at Super Babes just says, like, I hate to see you go. On second thought, maybe not, or something. And is just looking at his butt as he's leaving.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a well-drawn, this is a weird thing to say. It's not a well-drawn cartoon butt. It's just like a highlight line on his black costume that's like, okay, like if you're going to emphasize that one.
Right.
did all throughout
it's
the
probably
movie,
better than that one screenshot of Harley's butt.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Where she has like 2 butts. Yeah.
Whoever animated that one. That's great.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Anyway, the Kit Harington, Dick Grayson meme was like, oh, Jon Snow and Nightwing are the same person. They both like redheads, and it just shows Batgirl and Starfire with Egret, and then the butt thing, and then there was like I guess at some point in the comics, Nightwing died and then came back to life, but I don't know about that. That's what they compared it to.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
And then there was then it just shows the Incredibles teacher character. The coincidence? I think not, guys. But yeah, it's definitely a coincidence. Well, and they're both. And then they did that Jon Snow Nightwing thing in Metal. They didn't include that though.
Oh yeah, well, that just happened. Yeah, Metal number 3. Yeah. There's like a weird caption, like Nightwing's like all decked out in like Jon Snow gear, like a fur coat and stuff, and there's little captions like, "How want to see how Jon Snow Nightwing happened? Read this issue."
Yeah, to learn more about Jon Snow Nightwing. Yeah,
it was like the Nightwing issues that tied in with Metal, but. Yeah, I was gonna say the third issue of Batman and Harley Quinn, the sequel, the one it featured Swamp Thing, like the DCAU version of Swamp Thing that we see for a second at the end of the movie, and it was a really good read. It's all about the Floronic Man.
Yeah, it actually has Parliament of Trees and
Yeah, we get to learn more about the Floronic Man's backstory. Jason Woodrue. We get to see Swamp Thing like in action, and it's really cool. It's at the end, it's dedicated to Lin Wayne, the creator of Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I saw that
earlier this year.
Yeah, I think that was a better ending than the movie's actual ending. It doesn't fit with the tone of the movie, but yeah, all these sequel and prequel comics have felt more like actual DCAU than the movie did. So I definitely enjoyed them actually fighting, and it kind of seems like Floronic Man dies like for real at the end of that.
That's what it seems
if
like.
I remember right. Yeah. That's a pretty gross tissue you got there.
Well, we're an hour through the podcast, man. Well, so let me tell you what I read. I have read I read Batman Lost. It was the tie-in to Metal. Always talking about Metal.
I did too.
On here for Comic Relief. Yeah, Batman Lost was amazing though. It was really fun. It was So in that at the end of Metal number 3, Batman's like, well, I guess at the end of Metal number 2. Batman's stuck in the dark multiverse, and the heroes of Earth Zero are they're trying to find him. And Batman Lost is what Bruce is going through while he's stuck in the dark multiverse.
Right.
And so it starts with him as an old man. He's sitting in his study, the same one we see in Year One, where he looks up at the window and we see the bat.
Yeah.
So he's there. His granddaughter comes in. Bruce has a granddaughter named Janet, which... It's a weird name, Janet. Maybe it becomes popular again in the future. I don't know.
Hi, Chandler.
Oh my God.
Hi, Bruce. Grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So anyway.
Should have done that.
Yeah. Well, he does, because Janet, like later in the issue, turns into this demon creature that she like hops up on the ceiling and like kisses at him.
Actual Janet.
Yeah. I like Janet. Yeah. She's misunderstood. Anyway. Anyway, so Janet hops up on Bruce's lap and she's like, "Tell me a story." And he starts to kind of tell her about Zorro, but she's like, "No, I want a real story." So then you see this whole bookshelf of Batman stories that are like popular comics that have been published throughout his 70-year run. You know, and so we see stuff like Nightfall, Hush, Court of Owls, Long Halloween. But what I thought was really cool is there's one book on the shelf called No Justice, which isn't a story. That hasn't been published yet. So I'm thinking maybe that is like Snyder and Capullo, like upcoming. Teasing their up, like a Justice League story that they're working on together called No Justice.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I do like the line about like, like all they all kind of contradict each other, but all of them happened, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That he says there, the bane of our existence. But
that's like DC's always kind of done that. Like every couple of years when they reshuffle their continuity, like with 0 Hour and an Infinite Crisis, there's like almost always a little line that's like, yeah, like all these things happen, but like maybe not in the same way, you know?
Right.
So it's just up to your interpretation.
Or just the fact that recently we've been seeing stuff like the Flashpoint universe and Crisis and stuff like that like it did actually happen, or it's just happening right now in a different universe and stuff like that, or a different Earth or whatever. So
yeah,
that they're not all the stories happen at some point on some plane of existence.
And that's like what Hypertime was supposed to do in the 90s. Like DC came up with the idea of Hypertime, which is essentially what we're talking about. And Mark Waid was the guy who wrote it into continuity in The Kingdom, which was his sequel follow-up to Kingdom Come. That is a trippy mess of a comic book. If I'm not necessarily recommending it, but if you like Kingdom Come and you like DC and you want to read something that's like just really out there, look up The Kingdom.
Weirdly, they reused that Hypertime name in Static Shock for a completely different thing. There's like a bad guy he fights that kind of is like Quicksilver-y, where like he just slows down time and then moves normally in it. And they call that, like, when he does that, they call that Hypertime.
Okay.
Like, I think that was just a cool word they thought they were making up, but they didn't look into the fact that already exists.
It's already a
something
concept.
Completely different.
Yeah. Well, I heard. So we're recording this on Wednesday the 15th, but so
right.
as far as I know, today we're supposed to get Batman: The Man Who Laughs on the shelves.
Oh yeah, I need to go grab that after we're done.
I hear that they're talking about Hypertime. Hypertime is brought up in that book. It also is brought up by The Flash and the recent crossover, The Button, with him and Batman. He talks a little bit about Hypertime there. So it's still very much in play, and if it is, that means like the 52 worlds of the multiverse are just like the tip of the iceberg. You know, it just it means like anything is possible. It's just a matter of just whatever serves the story.
Well, because they've introduced now this upside down version of the 52 worlds, like the dark version of them or whatever, and they all crumble apart because they're not meant to be or whatever, but that's already just like, oh, you doubled everything. So
made it negative.
Also exists there,
right yeah. Which has kind of been done before with the antimatter universe. Like the antimatter has its own multiverse, and then the positive matter has its own multiverse.
And this is like the dark matter version or something like that.
Yeah, so
just keep coming. They'll just keep coming up with whatever they want for forever. It's fine.
Exactly. Well, Batman Lost also had a lot of really cool allusions to past stories that we've seen before, like particularly Batman: The Return of Bruce Wayne, that was written by Grant Morrison. It was like a follow-up to Batman R.I.P. and Final Crisis. Right. But that introduced the whole Bat Tribe stuff, like Batman as a caveman. And he was kind of like that whole series was about Batman lost through time, and he's trying to find his way back to the present. But the heroes in the present, Superman, Booster Gold, and Hal Jordan, they're trying to stop Batman from getting back to the present because he has this like dark side virus that's attached to him. It's called the Hyper Adapter. And the Hyper Adapter has been name dropped a couple times in this issue of Batman Lost and Metal a couple of other times. So if you see Hyper Adapter, that's the dark side virus that they were trying to stop in Return of Bruce Wayne. And so it's also kind of understood that the Hyperadapter might have been Barbados the demon. Barbados. Whatever. Barbie. The whole Barb. So maybe they're the same.
Barbacoa.
Yeah, so there was allusions to that with the caveman stuff. There was this demonic ritual in Victorian era. This ancestor named Thomas Wayne encountered this demonic ritual. They were sacrificing this virgin who looks a lot like Selena.
There was some other...
Well, there was Thomas.
It's just a Wayne.
There was an Alan Wayne in that too, who was using like a Court of Owls looking spyglass and like freaking out, like there's metals in the building, and then he like runs out in the streets in like his bathrobe, and he kind of goes crazy. But that's like an allusion to Court of Owls and Gates of Gotham, those series. But yeah, there was a lot of references.
Yeah,
to
Batman
past
Lost just
work.
has a ton of just references to other Batman stuff. I really liked the revelation, I guess, that Barbados is the bat that crashes through his window.
That's the big one.
Makes him Batman in the first place.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Or tells him or gives him the idea of using that moniker, using that visual. It
all go full circle. Yeah, I think we're going to find out a lot more.
Something that I thought was really, Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's okay.
I'm
just saying.
I think that. Oh my God! See, this is the problem with recording these over the Google Hangouts.
All right, I'm
going to talk now. No. Okay, go.
I think we're gonna learn more about Barbados. There's more to his backstory and his character that I think is going to be unveiled. We'll figure that out soon. Hopefully by the end of the series. Your turn.
Oh, can I speak now? Okay. Yeah, the the bat thing. The thing where he's the bat. I like that, but it's also kind of it was a cool, oh my God, that's always been what it is thing. But it also feels like they're kind of reaching for like, what have we not done yet? Like, okay, we did Joe Chill being the Joker in the 89 movie. We changed that. We did like a little revelation thing there. We did like, oh, Thomas Wayne becomes Batman in the other universe. Like, what other Batman origin thing have we not like toyed with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bat.
We've had like Thomas Wayne.
Is that important? Yeah.
Like Bruce's father has like been revealed to be like evil in the past too. So there's always they're trying to tweak stuff like that.
And all the Court of Owls stuff, like, oh, that was always going on, and this was always going on, and that was always going on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was something in there. Oh, there's like a page. There's a page where you see Barbie like talking to Bruce. It's like a full 2-page spread where he's just fanned out across the whole thing, and he's like shouting at him about his life and everything. And you see all these different Batman in the background in different costumes and different like animal traits and stuff like that, and like 6 of those Batman have yellow Batman Beyond bat symbols, and it just pissed me off. Like, are you doing this to me on purpose?
They know it's your greatest nightmare.
I know James Strecker is going to read this, so I should probably
put in all the yellow Batman Beyond. Yeah, one of them looks like Batman Beyond in particular.
Yeah, with a yellow thing. Yeah, there's also like a weird like llama dog looking like giraffe necked Batman lizard creature thing. And like he's very small, but it's just so weird. Like
he's like an insect.
He has like a really long neck and he's a weird bug man. Yeah. I just described it as a giraffe llama lizard bug, but you know, that seems pretty accurate.
Yeah.
slash
just
bat slash
infinite
human.
New animal. It's like they're doing a lot of it reminds me a lot of Rick and Morty, like the way they approach the multiverse, like where sometimes you're in a universe where you're a giraffe. Yeah, that's true. I said giraffe twice. I forget whatever you had. Whatever that thing is. That abomination of
also
a monster.
Martian Manhunters. Yeah, but that's a callback to the last episode of 12th Level Intellects. There's like the universe where they're all like rabbits and frogs and stuff, like Superman's a rabbit and
the Captain Carrot in the Zoo Crew world or something.
Yeah. Captain Carrot, God.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that would be kind of funny to do like Rick and Morty, like, oh, and this like Batman and Superman get like horribly murdered. So then they just hop to a different universe. This universe is the same exact thing that we were in, except in this one we're already dead, so or whatever.
Except in this one, Justice Lord John replaced him.
Yeah, Clayface is actually John Jones. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, we have talked plenty, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun.
Where can people find us, Ted?
We are on YouTube and SoundCloud under. Let's see. On SoundCloud, we are WDB12.
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to forego SoundCloud. You can go there for now. This will be up on there this week, but I'm looking into how to do it through iTunes instead because I'm sure it's not difficult. I just have to take the time to do it just because apparently they don't tell you this when you sign up for SoundCloud, but apparently you get a specific amount of time that you can upload before you have to start paying for it. And we've already maxed that out with 2 episodes. So it like automatically took down the first episode by me putting up the 3rd episode. And that's not going to fly with me. So we're also, for now, we're on podcasts.com. There's no specific / whatever. So if you just search 12th Level Intellects, it's the only one that'll pop up. But all the episodes will be on there for free, and we will continue to upload there.
And YouTube, well as YouTube, it's Watchtower Database. Jinx.
Yep. Hooey. Yeah, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at DCAU Watchtower. What else? I don't know.
That's the news.
Oh, if you want to send us fan theories or questions, comments, etc., we'll start adding a little segment on here where we take people's letters and recommendations and whatever. You can email us at info@dc. Oh my god, I always say that. info@watchtowerdatabase.com.
That's
is the email
it.
address.
That's it. We'd love to hear from you.
Also,
we'll give you shout outs. Shout outs in the episode.
And look forward to Legacies number 4 in like a week.
It's coming soon.
Yep. By the time you're listening to this, the teaser probably already came out. So.
And I've already started lettering the next one. So.
Oh my goodness.
That's exciting.
You're so ahead of the game. Did you fix the stuff I recommended fixing on number 4?
Soon.
I mean, the people won't know. It's always been great and perfect.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks on Monday the something.
For
December
sure.
something.
And in the meantime, we're also on Patreon. We're posting continuous updates under JTS Entertainment. It's our kind of sister channel sort of thing that you run, Mr. Strecker.
And we're doing a Justice League review. We'll also be talking, probably next episode of this, we'll be talking about the Justice League movie. We didn't quite make it for this week,
because it premieres tomorrow.
We'll have plenty of thoughts. We'll have plenty of things to say about that, I'm sure. So
Exciting.
Okay. Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Have a good one.
No.